instead of Simba in here, we will have Chicken playing in as a fill-in that mid lane. Simba coaching this squad throughout the course of this game, not during the match, but in between the matches. But without any further ado, let's head this down to Sanctuary. I'm gonna hand this off to HD Philly B and Dr. Shadow.
Welcome, Pred Obsessors. It's HD Philly B, and with me, as always, is the marvelous medicine man himself, Dr. Shadow. As stated by the desk, we have a PCC NA tournament rematch between Mythic and Flowstate. It was Flowstate that knocked Mythic out of the upper bracket, sent them tumbling down. Fortunately, Mythic, one of the best teams in the league, Doc, they were able to fight their way through the lower brackets and qualify for the top four. We're seeing a couple of different looks here, Doc, mainly BKB on the steal. We normally see him on Countess, Greystone, and Sevrog. This is new for us.
This is new for us. However, you can't play Countess when Lauber is the one picking it up. It definitely seems evident that Mythic knows about BKB loving these heavy, thick boy brawlers in that offlane. So picking the Countess, kind of a natural, solution to these high HP heroes because of the percent-based damage. And I also see that Lauber picked up the augmentation that does more damage with Blood Siphon, or the spinning move that you see Lauber do when using it on an isolated target. So BKB, this big boy, all by his little lonesome over here, is just getting cut down by Lauber, and that's Lauber's game, right? He just wants to live on this island. He wants to win the lane, and then he wants to get priority, rotate, and make an impact for his team. And he's easily one of the best players in the offlane to do that.
Oh my gosh, Doc.
What?
Within the first 2 minutes, what do we even see? It's the first blood, the Kira getting cut down to size. This is just showing the power of Maguli on the Sparrow, just how heightened her abilities are in this patch. My goodness, already off to a bloodthirsty start. Chicken having to blink here. Pinzo diving on in. Doc, we barely even got a chance to kind of analyze these squads, so I'll try to break it down for the teams quickly. What the side of Mythic is trying to do is dive, right? They have the Monkey, they have Kwong, they have Countess. They want to get on top of you very quickly, but on the opposite end, we have stuns coming through, and Rampage getting stunned up here, has to jump away. The Synaptic Obliterator and the Particle Shredder coming through there as well. Mercy, though, has to expend the Blink. Blink's already gone, Doc. That's 2 from the side of Flowstate early on.
Those were some very strange interactions that were happening there, though. I don't know if you saw, but Mercy, he jumped into the air and got pulled back by his ally's ether crystal or something. It was a very strange set of circumstances there, but he does have to get his blink to get out of there. Meanwhile, in the duo lane, though, Peak on that Decker, just tossing balls, setting up that Sparrow to be able to just pump damage. Something to note, the Sparrow, I'm not able to see the game right now for some reason, but the Sparrow did pick up the augmentation that provides a little bonus movement speed as well as 1.5 seconds of stealth agility. Mm-hmm. So he is kind of making up for some weaknesses that hero inherently has. Lacks mobility, does not have a phase attached to it in order to get away. So this is a great solution to closing the gap, closing the distance if a good stasis bomb connects. But I still can't see the stream for some reason.
Well, Pinzo, I think the viewers can. Pinzo making a great rotation. We don't always see him in the jungle, but we know that Kwong is one of his favorite characters to play. We see him play it in the mid lane a ton, and they are able to come out and save Lauber on that side. BKB expended his blink as well, so that's a trade of blinks in the off lane. Doc, what is going to work for the side of Mythic is if they push the tempo. This dive has to come early. It has to come often in order for it to work with the amount of stuns on the other side. What's good for Flowstate is that they can use those stuns to engage. They can use those stuns to dissuade or disengage the dive that comes through. But if you're shifty enough, if you're savvy enough to bypass those stuns, work around the cooldowns, the dive can work to perfection. You've seen it early on here.
Yeah, that's a great point. There is a lot of peel for Maguli on that Sparrow with the different options coming out from the Decker, from the Rampage, from the Steel. A lot of pushing and pulling that's going to be happening. In the mid lane, though, we do see Appy actually forced to blink away after missing the jump, but a rotation from Peak and a follow-up Stasis Bomb does not connect the Shifty Monkey is going to get away from a 4-man collapse in the mid lane, and that is a lot of free space. And actually, you can see on the mini map there, some creeps are going to get missed by BKB in the off lane, so that is actually going to set BKB back even further. Meanwhile, in the duo lane, though, Pinzo wraps around the back and gets the last hit onto Maguli after he takes some serious damage from Cure and Toasty in that duo lane. Just massacres happening around the map right now.
Well, Doc, I mean, that 4-person rotation to the mid lane, obviously Pinzo is going to make their way to the duo lane. If you're leaving Maguli alone, especially a Sparrow with no self-peel, you're going to go right in onto that. And with the carry out of the picture, that is a free 99 Fang Tooth. They're going to be slicing him up and giving out the T-bones to everybody on the team. That is a quick early Fang for the side of Mythic.
Chicken, pretty low mana. Can't really contest at this point in the game. Not a great set of resources or assets to do anything with at this point. Can't hold his particle shredder very long. Can only do really one brief combination there of abilities. So yeah, with Maguli does get back there almost in time to contest, but it's just not enough. And unfortunate for Flowstate, they do not get any exit kills. So that is going to be the first Fang going the way of Team Mythic here in this game 1, best of 3 in PPL season 1, or sorry, season 2, week 2. My brain, whew. But still, things are still very, very even. We do see some tower plating here falling. Maguli and Peak picking that up, so they're getting a little something on the map. But all the meanwhile, though, I am just concerned about this Lobber in the off lane. He's quiet. He's a little too quiet right now.
Yeah, and you can see just how much pressure he's putting on to BKB on the Steel. Doc, we've been casting this game for a very long time. Steel rarely wins these matchups in the off lane against any character. He's really just here to hold it down, get some items, and eventually do the wombo combo in the later stages of the game. So when that second Fang Tooth comes around, I'm sure we'll be seeing the Man of Steel make his entrance there as well. But for now, if you let Lobber get too much out of control, like you're saying, too many items, right, and snowball, that is dangerous. They can get onto Maguli and Peak and just take them down.
Lobber, absolutely. You can see he's just feeling so confident that he is just free clearing the creep waves without even letting the creeps meet, to force BKB under the tower, knowing that he doesn't have any mana. And what this does is this frees up the mini prime. BKB stuck under his tower. Chicken now rotating to the duo lane. This is a free mini prime that's going to go the way of Team Mythic. Who it goes on, don't know. But meanwhile, though, this rotation does pay small dividends with Toasty falling.
There it is, the particle shredder as well coming through, and even the Ion Strike expended from Peak. He has the augment that increases its range as well as the stun capabilities. Doc, if you know, see, this is the strategy, the push and pull between these teams. They know BKB is like, I'm pushed in, I got a time wave, I know they're going to mini prime, make a rotation left, see what you can do with it. And look, they're getting so many plates. They're even diving past the tower here, Doc. You're under duress, and it is Peak who claims the kill, but he will expend his life for it. The Cycle Breaker in the high impact, squishing him into the dirt, and it's Appy from the mid lane gets a double. No, make it 3 for the Monkey.
Ooh, that is not what you want to happen there. A little overzealous there coming out from Flowstate. They saw Cure bleeding a little bit, and they wanted to just send him back to base. They did, but at what cost? This Appy Picker Monkey is just absolutely psychotic. Peak sticking around to fight support against support, and Toasty actually misses the Neural Disruptor, but is continuing to hit the Void Bombs and does end up winning that trade. Peak, it seems like Peak is limit testing a little bit in this game 1 here, which if you're going to pick a game to do it, this is probably the game to do it, but that all felt very strange to me.
Doc, I mean, and we see the purple buff, I believe it's on Lobber, immediately pushing those creeps under tower. And what this causes is for the side of Flowstate, they were trying to level the playing field by pushing the opposite tower in the duo lane. That's why they're pressing that so heavy, because they know that the tide is tilted against them on this side. But it's a race against the clock. I mean, this tower is already down. The other one still has 2 plates. It's going to be a race before those creeps are all the way at your core.
And now Lobber gets to either join the game, which second Fang is going to be spawning pretty soon here, and he very much has priority in that off lane. So he is also very healthy. So he's going to be looking to potentially reset, potentially capitalize on that advantage that he got with that tower. But honestly, he could just walk over to Fangtooth at this point and still beat BKB out there, because BKB has to respond to just endless creeps shoving into his tower there. And he doesn't have great wave clear. Appy, though, he is just going to jump away. None of the stuns are connecting here, none of the balls, and in fact, he turns it around.
Oh my gosh, and that's a great force push, and then the force dash, and it's Appy who claims another victim. Mercy just had to wait idly by, I believe even expend the blink. He now dives in with the Tiny Titan. He's be biting some ankles, but the Cloud Walk allows Appy to get out just for now. Another cycle break, and it's Pinzo once again, the savior of the heavens, is able to get his mid laner out of dodge. Now Mercy, he's thinking better of it. He's running away, but gets tethered to the spot. The fish is in a rough place, and on the other side of the map, it's Lauber who gets active and claims a victim. Mercy goes down. Disaster here for Flowstate.
Disaster for Flowstate, and as a result of both of those picks, they are walking to that second Fang. Nothing but clinical textbook play coming out from the former D-Lab boys. I mean, they are just doing it all perfect. They're getting the picks, they're rotating to the objective, they're not overstaying their welcome, except for maybe Lauber here over in this duo lane, really making sure that Maguli stays away from the creeps and doesn't get anything. But overall, fantastic pickoffs coming out from the side of Mythic, and they are just, I mean, they're putting on a clinic right now. If you are looking to learn about when to go to objectives, this is it. You don't have to kill everybody, you just got to get the necessary picks. The biggest one there, though, being Mercy, getting taken down by Pinzo in the mid lane. That was the most perfect green light for them to just go. And right now we're feeling the pain of the, well, we being Flowstate is feeling the pain of that steal in the off lane. He's just stuck. He's literally just stuck under tower, and he can't. There's nothing he can do at this point. It's going to be another couple minutes before he gets to really show up and have any sort of impact, if at all.
Yeah, they're playing a 4v5, and you know you can give up some resources for a certain amount of time, but then it's like, okay, when is enough? Finally, the stuns connect onto Appy, but he just force dashes away. The Synactoblader hitting, the Cycle Breaker missing, and he'll be just fine. He has that gilded pendant to give him a little extra durability. But Doc, this is exactly what the monkey of the mid lane does. He just exhausts your resources. He just wants to take all those abilities out from you, and then he just laughs as he runs away, and then you try to chase. Your team comes through, and you just get caught out, and there you go, down to the gray screen. I really got to commend Pinzo, though, making great rotations. But Doc, I'm looking at the minimap. There's going for an invade Flowstate to the red side.
Flowstate is looking at the red side. I think they have a feeling Kira is going to be returning to lane here very soon. And with Maguli returning to lane as well, that should be a kill on Kira unless they burn his blink. But he doesn't have a blink, so he should be as good as dead, especially in the containment fence.
Yeah, there's that blink, but it's a nice piercing shot from Maguli. That one connects, and he takes down his opposite number. That tower shouldn't be long for this world, but it's another rotation to the mid lane. This time, BKB has joined the fray, but he immediately gets his health bar chunked away, and Chicken can only watch by clearing the wave. This will then, I believe, Doc, open up the mini prime. They know that the rotation was made to the dual lane. They can get this one for free.
Absolutely. You know, Chicken on the Argus, they didn't kill him, but they saw that he had exactly 0 mana. That is the green light for them. That is the go condition. Mercy is here. He's going to be looking to steal it, and if anyone can do it, it's him. He's jumping in.
Oh, he goes for the tiny, but it's the bell for the mini prime that moves him away. He's not able to get the steal, but can they claim any exit frags? That is the situation we find ourselves in. Mercy's the one to lead him on a wild goose chase. The good containment fence to split the fight. Peeking on the high ground here like Obi-Wan. He's now allowing to get his team out of dodge. A stasis bomb just push them away, but Cure and Appy, they're going for a pincer maneuver, to get the 2 camp. That opens up the mid lane here. Lauber taking another structure down, and now they're ready to join the fray. Into the mixer they go, and Lauber assassinates the chicken. Oh my goodness. There's the mage down from the mid lane. Lauber feeling emboldened at level 11. They have the extra feast ability online. BKB just getting shepherded away, Doc. There's nothing this steal can do.
This steal is struggling, and honestly, Flowstate is struggling to find their footing in this rough game right now. Team Mythic there, the way that they came off of the mini prime, the successful mini prime objective, they walked into that kind of red side pincer point by the mid lane, and they trusted Lauber to get that tier 1 tower and come in that fog wall. And boy, that trust paid dividends. They got Argus, they got Sparrow, and Appy working his way out. Might actually go down here. He is shifty. He is forced to blink, but the stasis bomb does not connect. Then a 2-man tether keeps the 2 from pursuing, and that is going to be another instance where Appy just gets away for free. And right now, this countess pressure on the map is just proving to be insurmountable right now for Flowstate because they are always having to commit and be a man down to respond to the pressure that Lobber's putting.
Don't chase the monkey. This is #1 rule. A nice rock hits onto 2, and there's the shield slap as well. But Pinzo's feeling very strong. I think he is the one painted in purple. He's chasing down the Tiny Titan. He's ready to make him into sushi. He doesn't even care how much damage he will take. And that exchange goes the way of Team Mythic. They're going to be looking to take this tier 1 tower down now. That's the only tier 1 left. That's some standing gold right for the taking. But really, Doc, it's to push the creep under so they can go for the Fang.
They do push the creep under with that mini prime buff, and they are at the Fang pit when it spawns, burning it down instantaneously before Flowstate can even react. Flowstate, Maguli knew what was happening, and I think they all knew, but they just couldn't do anything about it at this point. And you can see that the decision for BKB to go back to the off lane to try to just get something, some semblance of pressure out on the map to force some sort of response, because right now, Mythic is a man up this entire time in that duo lane because of the lack of pressure that the Steel's committing onto the map. And meanwhile, Maguli falling solo bolo from Lobber here. This guy is just everywhere because he can be. He's allowed to be.
The tier 1 in the off lane is still up, barely a tickle on it, so he doesn't even care if it goes down at this point. He'd rather get the kills, especially on the enemy carry. That is huge, massive stuff. Doc, I'm seeing a cybernetic drive here on BKB, now going for the brimstone, so just pure defense. I mean, yeah, he'll be tanky, but we need him to do a little bit of damage and do a little bit of stun, so that item choice is definitely even sending him back, but it's that fear of the Countess. He needs that extra magic armor these items provide to help him sustain in some of these fights, but you feel like it's a little too late.
As my buddy Waleader626 would say, we're scaling. Flowstate is definitely playing for the very, very late game, which is quite challenging to do when you are Rampage who falls behind. But with that catalytic drive, he is going to be looking to continue to build items. And as you know, once it levels up, once it upgrades, it does give you percent-based armor and magical defenses. So it makes all of your other items even stronger. So the later this game goes, the stronger he gets, but I fear that he's just not applying enough pressure. Meanwhile, though, Toasty is going to be falling from a rotation. Actually, Mercy didn't even get a touch on him, but Cure does find a kill onto Maguli in a 2v3, 2 fall for the side of Mythic. The boulder, though, does connect onto, what is that, Appy.
Yeah, now he's in. He's looking for a little bit of vengeance. He does have a red buff upon him, and Lobber's now here to feast onto Mercy. He's got a sliver of HP, and the red buff tick will take him down. Now it's only Peak and BKB, who's like, uh-oh, I went through the wrong door here, friends. He is backing off, Chicken there to shepherd him away, but the chase is on. They're emboldened here, Team Mythic. They're looking for blood.
BKB, he does have that Bull Rush augmentation that makes him immune to any sort of CC when he's doing it. But I just don't think that's enough to really have any impact in this game at this point. Again, it doesn't solve the problem of map pressure, right? It doesn't create any sort of window. And Appy, you can see he doesn't even care that there's a steal hitting him. And yeah, Chicken's here, but Appy should be fine. And in fact, Appy is cycle breakering onto Chicken and said, "Psych, you're dead now, brother."
Oh my gosh, a massive shield slam though, but it is Chicken who once again has been feasted upon. He is like a turkey dare just being gobbled up by Lobber. Peak does get a shutdown onto the sneaky monkey finally. Mercy hops in and has to hop out, Doc, because the engagement is already said and done. It was a bait and switch there from Appy. Both of the mid laners go down.
Considering Appy had half HP to like a third HP at the start of that engagement, and you're a Mythic, you gotta walk away from that pretty happy. Mid laner for mid laner. Also, bonus points to the fact that the support on the side of Flowstate, Peak, he was the one that got the shutdown. So that is a huge amount of money not going to anybody of really any sort of importance. Pinzo here, though, trying to provide some defense.
They're going all in on him now. That's where the stun composition works to affect the Tiny Titan with the Ashburger, and the augmentation shuts down Pinzo. Oh, but it is Toasty who comes to the aid of his jungler here. He's about to 1v1. It's like, can you hit the shots? Yes, he can. It's the support for the jungler.
It is the Toasty with the Prophecy Dynamo. Just, if he hits you with a stun, he's basically killing you with that bonus damage, with the augmentation that adds magical damage to his auto attacks. Like, he might be a support, but he's honestly like a carry 2.0 here. So
Mm.
that's going to be the third mini prime off the back of those picks there, off the back of taking Mercy out of the equation. Cure and Toasty, they are going to look to get out of here, potentially stick around and fight Chicken on the other side, though, in danger.
Oh my gosh, as soon as he sees Lauber, he's running for his little dwarf life, Doc. I mean, he doesn't want to go for this guy. And then there's another feast, and the peak is done. After that, Lauber looking for their next victim, and it will be Chicken. That's a double kill for the offlaner. Magooly caught between a rock and a hard place. They go down. It's a triple for the legend Lauber, and this will be the big prize.
Magooly gets something in that engagement, but he's a Sparrow, so he has nowhere to go since the fight started at the opening of that pit. Mercy, though, is still up, and again, if there's any player in the entire predecessor scene who can steal it, it's him. But Orb Prime is at 3,000. Will he be able to get this?
Oh, he blinks in for it, Doc. That is huge. He goes for the tiny Titan, but it's not enough. There's the Orb Prime secured from the side of Team Mythic. They are completely dominating this game, Doc. It is picture perfect flowchart to perfection for the squad on Dusk.
Yeah, Mythic is just putting on an absolute clinic. Sure, some of these fights are kind of panning out in their favor, almost by chance. I wonder how much of it is by chance, but that third mini prime turning into the Orb Prime, huge opportunity here for Mythic to really just almost end the game. They do have the 3 Fang buff, bonuses to offense and defense, and 4th Fang, it has spawned. Cure already looking at it. Peak and Chicken in the mid lane are going to be forced to answer to Appy. Meanwhile, will Mythic look at the Fang, or are they going to look to just choke out resources? Probably the latter there.
Doc, don't chase the monkey. It's all a farce. He just wants to toy with you. He wants to play with you. But I think Magooly might be getting played with over here on the off-lane side. And it's Lauber once again who takes down the carry. The Sparrow cannot stand up to the might of the Countess now that she's on a roll.
Lauber just continuing to do Lauber things. We do see the Cycle Breaker. It keeps Peak in place there, and the boys with the Orb Prime are looking to just run at the core here. The Shield Slam does not connect on anyone meaningful, and they are going to look to siege this, potentially look to the Fang, but they have giant creep waves coming in.
This game, I believe, is game, set, and match. That core is being obliterated. It is all in on the crystal, and there it goes. Team Mythic take game number 1.
Team Mythic coming out strong in week 2 right now. They've got something to prove against this F8 team that knocked them down in PCC this last weekend, and they are not disappointing. I mean, they looked on top form. I mean, look at Lauber, 805. The guy didn't die. The guy just killed everything. He didn't die. He had permanent lane priority the entire game, and because of him, they were able to just walk all over duo lane. They were able to turn around that first blood that went the way of Magooly, right? Mm-hmm. So just that was a Lauber show in my opinion. But Appy can't be Appy is a very close second there with the chaos that he was causing.
For me, it's actually Pinzo. I would love to watch this VOD review from his perspective because the timing that he had on so many engagements where he saved a teammate from a sliver of health and then turned the fight around, it was like, how did he have that sense? And it's this augment, I believe, that allows him to teleport around the map, basically, right? You can leave his sword, teleport back, and get there in those clutch moments. So I gotta give some flowers out there to Pinzo Dunzo, doing an expert job there on the Kwang jungle. Folks, this has been an exciting game number 1. I'm curious to see how Flowstate changes up in the draft. Sorry. To break it all down for us, we'll send it back to Rit and Rastro.
Ooh, Rastro, we had ourselves a matchup there. Was that the redemption game we had expected? We expected, Mythic to come back. They were going to be aggressive. They really wanted to show that what happened in that PCC week 1 wasn't, exactly how they intended it for. We did actually have another switch up there I didn't mention. We had the mid lane switch up, but we also had the switch up in the jungle. We had Pinzo in place of Grady in that game 1. We'll be back to Grady in the game 2. But what was your overall thought on how the match turned out?
For me, there's 2 unsung
in the previous game on Lauber.
And we're going to send it back down to our casters in
the Argus. Dr. Shadow,
And without any further ado, I believe we have fixed our technical issues, and we're going to send it back down to our casters and back to Sanctuary.
All right, and we are back. Thank you so much. Ritterific and Rastro. That's a little bit of rest and relaxation for you on the desk. But for now, here for game number 2, it's HD Philly B and the muscular man himself, Dr. Shadow. This one, I feel like, friend, is going to have some fireworks. I'm seeing the like of Flowstate, Doc, really going for that dive in terms of the Countess and the Czars. They're going to really all in somebody that's hopefully locked down by either the Decker or the Argus.
Yeah, Flowstate, they definitely liked the Countess and what the Countess was doing in the previous game on Lauber, piloted by Lauber from that offlane role. So they are definitely trying to reproduce that with BKB. But something that's interesting here and something that's different in this game too is Pinzo has now been subbed out for Grady. Grady, the usual jungler for Team Mythic. So it was actually really surprising to see how clinical Mythic was in game 1 with a sub, basically, right, from that key jungle position. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they play. But I do agree with the desk. Their draft does seem a little bit potentially weaker without the Countess on their own side. And with the double cage composition coming out from Flowstate, I think they might have enough control in these engagements. But ultimately, it comes down to who is hitting the most abilities. And as you know, Bellica, once she blows her ability load, she doesn't really offer too much. Yeah, she has some auto attacking, but that's a support Bellica. Meanwhile, in the jungle, though, Grady's getting invaded.
We have a 2v2, and it looks like the Sephiroth has to expend the blink, and it's a double blink after him, and it's Mercy who skewers the Reaper of Souls and takes him down. Still, the engagement goes onward. Grady, he's sniffing out the blood. The Chimera with the 3 heads, looking to chop some people down. Mercy trying to dance along, but eventually an R2000 takes down the Gladiator. It's a 1-for-1 trade outside the blue buff.
Mercy was breaking ankles around that little tiny pillar at the blue buff. He survived at least 4 or 5 seconds longer than he had any right surviving. But a very aggressive, transgressional invade coming out from Flowstate here into Grady's blue side jungle pays major dividends for them getting that first blood. Unfortunately, it was not on the BKB, that Countess that we saw pop off in game 1 for the side of Lauber. But, he got kill participation. They got the first blood. Counterpoint, though, they also burned 2 blinks for it. But Lauber no longer has a blink, so kind of what Rastro was saying on the desk, I want to see that pressure here. Meanwhile, though, there's a continued fight in the jungle. Like, what is this? Why are these people here?
Doc, a full rotation. There's nobody on that duo side. Everybody was going after that river bug. A full int onto this blue side again, and it is Cure dishing out the medicine. It's a double kill for the carry on the dust side.
Cure came up, and he said, winning is a disease, and he declared himself as the vaccine to the disease. So he gets an early double kill, putting himself on the board there with that very strange 3.5 minute rotation from the duo lane there. But I guess it's not that strange considering both teams did the same exact thing. But I mean, this might just be a testament to Grady in the jungle, right? Like all of this fighting is happening on that dusk side jungle in that blue side specifically. So I think Flowstate's definitely paying some respect to the starting jungler for the side Mythic by trying to deny him farm, trying to cause chaos, trying to slow his tempo down, because what that's going to do is that's like if you're a Chimera and you fall behind at all, it becomes very, very challenging to enter the game, whether it's jumping into fights, whether it's trying to do anything on the map. It becomes very challenging. So Flowstate trying their best to shut his tempo down, but that tempo might get up here because he's looking at middle, looking at Chicken.
Yeah, it definitely is. Chicken, though, it does have a little bit of escapability. We do have D-Dog, who's our observer, as well as our producer for our matches here tonight, folks. If D-Dog could give us the tab screen really quick so we could see the augments that these players have. I want to see, it's the jungle invasion from Grady that's making him so emboldened here, Doc. He is just going right into the opposite side jungle, and that's forcing these rotations from Mercy to have to kind of counter it. And then he puts himself in an awkward spot. The team collapses on him, and then he goes down. Right now, though, Grady, though, he's the one under duress. He made that invasion. Looks like he'll hop, skip, and a jump out of there as Appy will shield him back to the T1.
Yeah, that 2 camp on Mercy's red side jungle has been a victim to this Grady. I was wondering at the very start of the game if that was in fact an invade that I saw coming out from Grady, and now it makes all the more sense that he has that augmentation that gives him bonus physical power when he's in the opposing jungle. So really great heads up there, but they know that he went back to base. So as a result, Flowstate have started this first Fang of the game, but it is going to get contested here.
It's about can they finish it, Doc. Maguli, he's deep into the pit now. They turn tail and run, and it's Toasty who gets stunned up. The Easter Crystal blocks him up. They roll away, and it is Maguli who takes him down. Appy, though, has returned to this fight. He finds a victim, and that will be Mercy. It is exchange of lives out here of the pit. Now, Grady, he has entered the fray. He takes his opposite number down to make it rain. Expended the ambush as well, right under the tower. The dive is clean. It's a 10 out of 10 from Grady.
Grady gets a 10 out of 10, and he gets to walk away. He lives to tell the tale there. Unfortunately, with Mercy finding Cure and then going down, that does kind of break off that entire engagement, and Grady just gets to get some cleanup kills there onto Peak. But all in all, you know, the side of Mythic, they keep Flowstate off of that objective. They keep Flowstate from getting the thing that they so have been craving since getting 0 of them in game 1. And so the streak continues for Mythic. Yes, they did not clinically get it in the same way that they did in the previous game, but that's because Flowstate is, it feels like they've turned the heat up a little bit. They're applying more pressure on the map. They're able to get more priority to do more things. And I'm going to be looking at BKB here because he was definitely kind of the weak point, in my opinion, from game 1. So I'm going to be looking at him to see what does he bring into this game once he's able to establish dominance over Lauber.
I mean, Doc, he just has a potent staff right now, and that can build into a lot of things, but it grants you 30 magical power to start. When you're trying to go toe-to-toe with a big man, you're getting all the magical damage you have, but you have no mana, and that's going to be a deficit for you. Lauber knows it now. He feels brave. He feels courageous, but not courageous enough to go under the tower just yet.
Yeah, he's definitely not at a point where he can go all the way under the tier 1 tower, but he is, we saw this in game 1, Lauber feeling emboldened to farm that creep wave before the creeps touch, to force the full creep wave under the tower, whether BKB is there or not. In the duo lane, they are gonna take down Cure here, which is a nice pickup for Flowstate, but Toasty's gonna be looking for 2. But all the meanwhile, Grady has started mini prime, and because of that pressure from Lauber, that is a free mini prime that because BKB has to respond to his tower, and Mercy nowhere nearby. So Lauber again being the raid boss who's gonna get that objective online, and he's gonna look to push back against this BKB Countess. He's going to look to assert some dominance to keep the Countess from getting to the point where he was in game 1.
Oh,
Grady,
that's
though,
a perfect blink there from Chicken, but he can't dodge the ultimate to make it rain. The final missile homes in on the mid laner and takes him down. There's nothing Pete could do but stand and watch. Now Mercy, he goes in, forces the blink out from Appy, and it's a feast. The hamster is served up for dinner. Grady, though, he gets a blade siphon to the chest. He has to ambush to do some damage, but it's Mercy who, with the spear of Near, finds him. Toasty off the top rope, a seismic assault to thwart the advance and keep the mid tower safe just for now.
Those are great picks, and off of the picks on the enemy jungler, on Grady, and on Appy, that is going to be a green light here for Flowstate to get their first objective of the series so far. This is going to be the first Fang of the game at 9 minutes in, but this is desperately needed for them to start finding the tempo that they want so that they can play their game. However, meanwhile, Lauber utilizing that mini prime exactly like he does every single game, taking 2 tower plates. But it looks like there might be an exit fight in the duo lane here. Maguli really trying to get out of here. He should be fine, but yeah, he's good. He's gonna get out. Oh, maybe not. I spoke too soon. Caster curse.
Oh my gosh, has to expend the blink there. Does have the vengeance stacks. Excuse me, I got off guard there with that one. But yeah, Maguli will get out of dodge. Doc, it's a trade, right? You trade the Fangtooth for 3 tower plates in your off lane because of BKB making those rotations on the Countess. Mercy, though, seeing that Grady's invading, he knows that he has those extra power spikes, but he goes right in with the shield bash, the spear of Near as well. Now that allows Peak to make his move. He tries to get the Chimera in the cage, but this is not a zoo. It is Sanctuary. Grady, now he's running for his life. He is deep in enemy territory. The Coliseum finally dropped. This has to be a stack. No, the blink expended from Grady, but I think so will his life be. Chicken with the Synaptic Obliterator for finish him off.
Chicken does get the finish, and all the meanwhile, what should have been a kill onto Maguli actually turns out kind of in Maguli's favor. He survives. Ooh. And all the meanwhile, Lauber applying all this pressure. He does get that tier 1 tower, but BKB is pursuing him with the Countess. However, that pursuit gets broken short because the landmine boops him out of the direction. Now BKB is the one on the run. Appy, though, is going to be pressured by Mercy here. Mercy comes out of nowhere with a shield bash and it says, "Psych, you thought." But here comes the Make It Rain coming down onto two of them, tries to get out, but he doesn't make the ledge, and Mercy is going to get the last hit with the Spear of Nier. Whew, lots of fighting all the way across the map. I love it. This is fun.
This is high tempo predecessor, and it's all set by the junglers, as you said, Doc, right? It's Grady who said it because he's invading, which then causes Mercy to be in awkward spots, which then causes fights to just happen all around the map. It is just nonstop action here in game number 2 between these veteran squads. Oh, give us a brief moment to think about what the state of the game is, Doc, what items folks are doing, and what they're looking to do next.
Chicken, he's got almost got his Tainted Scepter online, so that's going to be a pretty big power spike for him once he's able to get that. That's going to be a nice damage bonus. Meanwhile, he's stacking that the Alchemical Rod, trying to get some bonus mana, so he can just hold his little machine gun particle shredder a little bit longer. Meanwhile, BKB has lost his tower. However, he has better equipment now to deal with the influx of creeps that are being pushed in by Lauber. He does have Anoxia. He does appear to also be working on his Tainted. So that is also going to be another major power spike coming out for him. Is there anything that stands out to you, Philly?
I'm seeing the Ascended augment here for Mercy, so he's going to be scaling that power throughout the game, the HP as well. But not much else. It's the speed boost on the Make It Rain here for Appy. It's an interesting choice. A lot of people go for the bigger boot, maybe for setup and things like that. So, but it's still not a bad augment. But I think this is generally what you expect across the board. We do see the Grave Breaker for the Sevrog. We know that's the home run hitter. Always fun to see in these fights. I'm looking for him to get active and start using it.
I can't wait to see that. I love seeing it when he starts getting kills, and especially when he starts getting the 3 stacks on his shoulder blades and starts literally home running people. Peak though with the Immaculate Stasis Bomb, keeping him off of his carry, off of Maguli. That is how you play support right there. Just you got to hit your spells, you got to press your buttons. He does blink to dodge the Seismic Assault.
And there's that Iron Strike. It takes the hamster out of the sky. The Coliseum gets the stack. Pure perfection from Peak. My goodness. And that's a double in the duo lane for the side of Flowstate.
Flowstate get 2 there, and unfortunately there's not much to do here. However, tower plating did fall a minute ago, so that's likely going to be this tier 1 tower here, equalizing the tower economy map state right now across the map. So this is very much needed. I doubt that they're going to go for much more. They're going to look to reset, get their items online, and look to start setting up map control around that second Fangtooth, as it is going to be spawning in about 20 seconds now. And you can see Mercy on that blue side. He is ready to rumble when it spawns. He's going to look to clear his 3, look to sweep wards in that area, and wait for the boys to show up. Meanwhile, BKB is just going to do his best to keep Lauber away from the game, and that just might be enough here.
Yeah, as long as it's a 4v4 fight as the second Fangtooth spawns in, but he's like, don't forget about me. He's going to be chomping at the bit, spitting fireballs as well. It will be Flowstate who starts it. Can they finish it? Yes, they do. The Hunt secures it easily. That is the second Fangtooth of the match going for Flowstate. They get that out of combat movement speed. It's a single dingle in the off lane, but it's Cure who finds his opposite number in Maguli, caught out of position. The exit frags coming through. Mercy has to run for his life, but the R2000 rocket homes in on him again. It's a 2-for-2 trade here as the second Fang goes down.
It is a 2-for-2 trade across the map, but in that engagement post Fangtooth, it was a 2-for-1 in favor of Team Mythic. So they are going to look to capitalize on that numbers advantage. They're going to look to try to get that duo lane tower. You can see Appy trying to do something in this lane, but meanwhile, BKB with that single dingle on the Lauber is able to secure that tier 1 tower, now giving themselves potentially an advantage. I can't see the duo lane tower. Okay, duo lane tower is still there. So that is now a tower advantage in favor of Flowstate, in addition to 2 Fangteeth across the board. So they are feeling quite good in terms of their overall net worth, their overall economy, and their control right now. But they got to keep this tempo if they want to maintain what they're doing. And with Chicken having 0 mana, it's going to be very difficult to do that.
Doc, and this is where the Chimera kind of falls off a little bit, right? I mean, we are in the mid game, but as you get to the late game, he kind of just dives in, kamikazes, and then you blow him up and he dies, right? If you don't get somebody off that initial dive, then what is he doing? So they really need to capitalize, and they're trying to do that by posturing around the mini prime right now. Mercy, he was scouting him out using that third-person advantage, but the Subjugate locks him down. Peak once again is there. There's the dive. I want to see the Coliseum popped up, and the people are clapping for it. It's in this tiny space, though, and I think that's exactly where the side of Dusk wants to fight. Peak, though, he's been dangling out there like a piece of meat. I think they will be the one to go down. There it is. The ambush does secure him, but on the back end, Maguli finds Appy somehow, some way. They've been fighting over in the river as we're taking a look at these two. Grady once again taking the bulk of the effort, and it is a nice blade siphon that takes him down. Mercy has to run for his life. It looks like it will be Lauber, though, to chase him. The Phantom Rush does miss, but it's fancy footwork from the jungler to get himself out of dodge.
That was some really nice footwork from Mercy. Overall, though, 3-for-3 trade there. Pretty net neutral across the board. Both junglers do ultimately fall, so no one is able to claim kind of advantage for that mini prime. BKB, though, definitely having way more impact in this game. We definitely, I mean, we saw him in that engagement with Maguli, kind of fighting that second fight in the background from what we were watching. But overall, I mean, he is showing up and he's having an impact, and they're not losing their entire base because of it. So I love this BKB that we're seeing here, as opposed to that steal in the off lane. And I think that's the adjustment that they might have needed. But the colossal blow on the Peak actually sends him so far, it sends him almost to safety, except Grady is here. This might be death.
He sniffed that one out. Oh, good stasis bomb, but the ambush there to follow him up. I think Peak, he's just wasting time, but it's a nice snipe there from Cure to take down the support. That's the Gravebreaker we were talking about. That gives a numbers advantage here for the side of Team Mythic. They're using it now to make it rain here on Maguli.
Oh my god.
Oh, and that's that speed boost we're talking about, folks, and that allows Appy to secure the carry.
And the combustion as well. The Coliseum, though, dropped on the Appy for that transgression against Maguli. He blinks, but hits the edge of the Coliseum. Meanwhile, the Particle Shredder and the Synaptic Obliterator just melt him down. So he is going to also die, but meanwhile, they don't even care that they lose Appy because they get the second mini prime of the game onto Grady. So now Grady gets to continue to try to find his footing in this game. Not that he hasn't been finding his footing. He gets a chance now to really step ahead and pull forward to try to get his team the third Fang when it spawns in about a minute from now.
So the teams, they know that they have that timer in their head, so they're going to be trying to clear their jungles really quick, get maybe that last item, and then head there as quickly as possible. But with this mini prime buff onto Grady, he's feeling very strong as he heads into the pit. Has the Berserker Axe online, Doc, so that will help with the amount of ambushes he's been doing, but it's another Gravebreaker I thought I saw that hit somebody into the stratosphere, but that will be BKB. So slippery with the Shadow Slip, able to get out there. Mercy, once again, going to be looking. BKB hops right back into the feast on there. He does have a levels advantage to make it 3 at that. The Blade Siphon secures it. Lauber too late to save his jungler, but maybe can get some revenge eliminations because of it. Now locked in the cage is Cure, but that's exactly where he wants to be. The Purge takes down a number of folks. It's so much damage from the Kira. The Blade Tide does come through once again. The Shadow Glide as well. They're chasing this slippery bounty hunter. The Ventilate as well just tickles them, but eventually the shutdown comes through. Another hit from Lauber. It's a home run. Maguli trying to hop, skip, and jump out of this one, but eventually will fall. It's a bloodbath outside the Fangtooth pit.
An absolute bloodbath, and again, really kind of net neutral across the map here. In that engagement, no junglers survive, therefore there is no green light for either team to start that objective. But Team Mythic, they have the map control still, the map presence, the ability to have vision in this area. Peak, he's going to regain a little bit of that, but in terms of priority, Team Flowstate, they have to do something about that duo lane if they want to continue fighting in this Fangtooth area. Peak, though, he might have gotten nah, he's going to be just fine. He's got his little rocket boots to get away. And we can see Mythic has already returned to the third Fang of the game, and they are looking to deny this advantage from Flowstate.
Yeah, but Peak getting poked out there, that means that there's a less control moving into this, and that is the green light for them to go. They know they're a member up, and there they go. They secure it. Team Mythic, the first Fangtooth on the board for them. It's a triple Dread Nova, and that allows BKB to come through. He tries to look for Toasty. The Blade Siphon eventually makes him fall. 3 go down as the exit frags come through for the side of Flowstate. They lose 2, though, on the other side.
That's a great series of exit frags that are coming out for Flowstate, all because of Mercy in that backline. Yes, Mercy died in that engagement, but he had a massive Coliseum that basically isolated the Team Mythic into a group of 3 and a group of 2. And somehow, some way, he was able to kill 2 of them, or get involved in 2 kills in that backline as well. Unfortunately, Lauber, being Lauber, just put an end to him after that, but that Coliseum was huge in separating the fight out and enabling his team to really hold even. I think it goes differently if he doesn't split them up in the way that he did there in that. So really, really clean. But in the earlier fight, I just wanted to shout out that reset on the Shadow Glide for Cure's Kira.
Mhm.
That is crazy. When the augments were released, there was that release video where you saw, she gets a kill, she dashes, she gets a kill and dashes. That's actually the first time I've seen it, and that's crazy. That's just crazy.
When your carry has that much mobility, they can glide around the battlefield, reposition themselves effectively to find the kills. And Doc, I believe they have the Bringer of Mercy augment, which reduces cooldowns on hits when you do hit your alternate ability. So if you're doing that, Shadow Glide comes up even more, and that allows you to just maneuver around the battlefield just that much more quickly. Right now, though, Peak in an awkward spot once again.
Always.
Mercy is there though to shepherd him back to safety. This, though, might open the door, but Lauber just so tanky. The Ion Strike expended as well as the Coliseum. They take down the Reaper of Souls, but how much do they have to spend to do it? Will it be too much? Mercy also falls and Peak to boot. Oh, it was all just a bait. They dangled the Reaper out there. He forced all the cooldowns in the world to be expended, and they lose 2 because of it.
They lose 2, including Mercy. So this is potentially a green light to at least start looking at the mini prime. Grady is pretty low. BKB looks to peak because he also thought that they were going to start the mini prime, but instead they wait around the corner and they pick him off. Chicken soon to follow. The stasis just buys him a couple seconds, but that is stasis value. Hole, and the rest of the boys have shown up to just die. And that is going to be an orb prime now.
Doc, bring out the mop and bucket because they were just cleaned right up. All of Flowstate absorbed into that one. This is going to be a free or prime for the side of Dusk. It's about now, Doc, what do they do with it? Do they go? There's still a sliver of health on that mid tower. Do they decide to push it all the way? I want to point out, though, for the viewers at home, all the while in the duo lane, that creep wave was pushing right on in. They take down the tier 2.
Yeah, they take the tier 2. That is a saving grace to that situation. Still disastrous, but not the end of the game quite yet. It is very even. 24 to 23. Objectives in favor still of, well, Fang Teeth in favor of Flowstate, but Orb Primes and Mini Primes in favor of Team Mythic. And Lauber's just causing chaos before any of these engagements really break out. Look at this pressure that he applies to Mercy or to Peak or to anybody, and then the fights start after that. And that is causing so many problems for the side of Flowstate right now. You can see he's all by himself. Grady looking to rotate over here, but I fear, nope, the home run. Straight to Grady.
Doc, that is huge because they knew his teammates were waiting in the jungle. And just like a predator, Grady ambushes Magoli and takes him down. It was all in the playbook, Doc. Executed to perfection from Lauber and the boys.
Somebody's got to clip that because that was they can be the new surgeon because that was clinical. The home run right into the ambush, and now Grady, he blink ambushes onto Chicken to take their wave clear out, and they're going to look to siege this base with the Orb Prime. Mercy forced to blink under his own core. BKB has shown up to try to get something, but I fear he's not going to have enough damage here. Mercy, though, drops the Coliseum on the Appy and finally gets a kill.
And that is a big stack there for the jungler, but he expends his life for it. There's hacking and slashing was Grady, but he finally goes down. It's all just Peak. He's just putting in the photon strikes as best that he can. Now he's able to hop up there with the Galaxy Greaves, but all the while was a stall because the creeps, they were buffed in purple, and they take down the mid inhib.
They take down the mid inhib and soon to be that duo lane inhib too. You can see Cure running through the mid lane to meet Lauber as that inhibitor is about to fall. The colossal blow into the wall. He is just going to be annihilated. Maguli going back to base, and Cure with the Shadow Glide reset is looking to just pressure the core potentially. Or he could do the discipline play and get it back, reset, capitalize on that advantage. He actually just jumped over a stasis bomb. Wow, okay. I see you, Cure. I see you.
Doc, I think it's because Argus came back alive. Like you stated, that's the wave clear that's there, and maybe their prime buff as well is about to fall off. So you're right, doing the discipline play to not overextend their advantage, get caught out, get wiped, right, as the resources have been expended, and then you lose the next objective, which is the Fangtooth, which will be the primal Fangtooth on the board, and that is going to be a bulk of true damage. So both of these teams, Doc, going to be setting up for it.
Primal Fangtooth. If Flowstate gets it, they can definitely be back in this game with that third
Mhm.
Fangtooth buff, bonuses to offense and defense. But I fear if Team Mythic gets it, they're going to run Flowstate down with that Primal Blaze, with that pure damage, with that
Yeah.
lack of frontliner that Flowstate is having. They are having such a hard time navigating these fights because they don't have that Lobber. They don't have that Sevarog in the front absorbing and eating all of this damage before the fights even break out. So Flowstate, they've got to find a pick, but Mythic, they are not giving themselves into pick positions. In fact, Mercy and BKB just
No!
walks around the corner.
No, that forces the Coliseum to come out, as well as the Ventilator will be another stack for Mercy. Appy does fly his way into the backline, puts in a ton of missile damage, 3 dead, a Desperation Ion Strike there from Peak, but he knows his life is forfeit. Mercy, the only one left to tell the tale, but he is not long for this world either. Another Colossal Blow hits him into the camp. And there he goes, and that, Doc, is what we call an RGS ace. It's a quadra kill for Cure.
Quadra kill for Cure, RGS ace for the side of Team Mythic. It looks like Mercy disconnected. I think that potentially could have been some frustration coming out from how that game played out. But I hope, yeah, that is going to be game 2, and that is going to be the series 2-0 for Team Mythic in this week 2 of PPL Season 2. Wow.
Doc, a little bit of revenge for the side of Team Mythic. They show them what they got here in this one. Team Mythic will win the $100 for the week for their side. They get that to their name and a little bit of extra pride and a little bit extra clap back after what happened in PCC qualifiers this past weekend. But my goodness, what a game. The dive, Doc, from the side of Flowstate, when it worked, it worked. But like you said, some of those engagements were more awkward because eventually Mythic just grouped up and they said, we'll just deathball you. And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and this, I mean, the Lobber and Sevarog, Peanut Butter and Jelly, you can't let him have that hero. He's literally not allowed to play it. And I hear the crowd saying, well, what about Countess in game 1? But I don't think the Countess was necessarily the issue. It was the lack of response to the Countess that they had in that off lane that I think caused a lot of those issues. But yeah, the lack of frontline was definitely hurting Flowstate in this set. But I mean, shout out to Mythic, man. They were textbook in this set. I mean, that was some of the cleanest pred I've seen, and the scoreboard just simply reflects that. Grady coming in, yeah, Grady 6-8, but the man was causing chaos. He stopped Mercy and he stopped Chicken from both getting tempo in this game, and keeping them down allowed Mythic to just take over.
Absolutely. Yeah, they disrupted him. They got into his head and he didn't know what to do about it. I also love this build from Lobber here, Doc, just going for pure magical defense, right? So anytime the Countess maybe even thought about jumping, he just stood tall against it. And that's what happens when you let the Sevarog, scale into the game. Eventually, you just can't take him down. There was just not enough damage. So, Doc, a fantastic game that we had here, but we have even more coming at you, and that will be more PPL action on Thursday at 7:30 Eastern time right here on Twitch.